Welcome, Gunrunner.
Hello everybody, Kieran aka The Laird here, and I've got a really cool hardware review for you this week, and as you can see it's the Atari 2600 Tiny Arcade. Now I saw these when they first came out on various social media sites and stuff, and I saw people post on Facebook about them, about picking them up in places like Walmart and the such like, but as far as I was aware they weren't available in any UK shops. I certainly hadn't seen them anywhere. But I did and ah over whether to get one. I'll tell you why I and ahed so much, despite being a massive Atari fan, in a minute. But yeah, I was and ahhing over whether to get one or not, and then I kind of forgot about it. And then last weekend, as you've probably seen if you follow my channel, I was at the Centre for Computing History in Cambridge, and in their store there, where you can buy all sorts of really cool stuff, they had these, the Atari 2600 Tiny Arcades, and I thought, oh, and it was a decent price. It was £25, and obviously it helps support the museum. So I thought, yes, I will grab one of those most definitely. And here it is, because I thought it would also make a great video for the channel. And what I'm going to do is, as well as you can see, I've got the box for my original Atari video computer system in the back there, and I've taken it out the box so I can show you just how small this thing is. But I did want to mention some other things before I do that. So first of all, I actually want to talk about the box. I never do unboxings, as I always say on these things, but quite often I show you what's in the box. And there's nothing really to show you what's in the box here, because it is just packaging. There is no instruction booklet or anything apart else. But what I do want to mention is how bloody hard it was to get this out of the box. My God, it was ridiculous. All the plastic inside is covered in layers and layers and layers of sellotape. It's all sellotaped in, everything, despite the fact it's already got the the plastic packaging and the cardboard packaging around it, as you can see, the kind of wood grain design thing around it. Everything was sellotaped, so much so that I was having to use scissors. I've actually ripped the box at the top here where I was trying to wrestle with it, which has really annoyed me because I like to keep my boxes pristine. But also I scratched the side of it, which is really annoying, as you can see there, where I was trying to get it out with the scissors. So they really didn't think that packaging through very well at all, because it was just literally impossible to get into. Really bloody annoying, actually. But there we go. I will show you what's on the box though. It says obviously Atari 2600 Tiny Arcade from World's Smallest. I believe these same people who did this have done little mini TVs like that have clips from movies on. Like I think there's Back to the Future one is the one that springs to mind, but there's other ones as well. I think they're the same people who have done those little TV sets. I don't know if you've seen them. They don't play the whole movie, they just like play clips. But they're quite cool little collector's items. But anyways, it says 9 games plus bonus game Pac-Man. So 10 games in total. The smallest fully functional desktop console game. Yep, you'd be correct there. What does it show you? So it shows you what you get in it on the side, and it shows you that it has a high resolution classic console TV. Your joystick, your console, and it shows down there in the corner that the TV moves. So we'll have a look at that in a minute. Being able to move the screen. And then on the back it shows you what's in it. So Centipede, Pong, Missile Command, Breakout, Asteroids, Combat, Warlords, Millipede, Tempest, and of course bonus Pac-Man. Now, take note of the screenshots and what they look like, because I'm going to come back to that in a minute. That's quite an important thing about this. That side's the same as that side, I think. And then on the bottom actually is they put all the instructions about what does what. Tells you that it takes 3 AAA batteries, as you can see, and tells you how it works and stuff. And it's 0 to 3 sad onions, it says there, but on the front it says 8 plus, so that's a bit strange. It totally contradicts itself there. So there we go. That's that. So let's grab the unit itself a minute. So we've got the TV, and as you can see, the TV has these little legs which you can move. They do go stand it up. this TV screen does come out. It's quite difficult to do though, so there we go. So you can angle it, which is useful actually, because it's so small. If you're putting it on a table or something, you need it to point up at you a bit, so it's actually quite useful. It might seem strange, but it's actually quite a useful feature. That clicks back in. On the back, obviously, it's just a door to put our batteries in. Fake aerial on the top. These don't do anything at all, if you were wondering. And then on the bottom is the on-off switch. Here's the little mini console. It's hard to do because of the cable to show you this. And I want to make sure the camera focuses properly. But as you can see, it's even got the little Atari logo on the front. The attention to detail is amazing. I don't think the switches move. No, they don't. They don't do anything. So they're useless. They don't game select or anything like that. They're actually useless. But this button here, where the cartridge port would be, is your reset button. Your menu button to go into the game. There's kind of a fake TV switch box, which is really only an American thing. We didn't have those things in the UK. You'll see people on Twitter and Facebook saying, "Remember these?" And it's like, no, because they're an American thing. It's another one of those mad Americanisms with retro gaming. They talk about those switch boxes they needed in America all the time, which we didn't have. We certainly had the aerial switches in the UK. We could switch between your TV and your console, but we didn't have those coaxial switch box things that the Americans had. And there's our little genuine Atari joystick. Tiny little thing with a fire button on it. But it works incredibly well, as we'll find out. Now let's turn it on, and then I want to talk about the games. So I've turned it on there for the moment. And I'm going to have to go closer up in a minute to show you the games. So it's going to be quite difficult. I'm not sure how I'm going to manage that at the moment, but we'll find a way of doing it. I'm sure. I might have to put it on the table or something, so I might have to switch shots in a minute. But the games on it, right? Let's I'll show you the screen closer up. There we go. Oh, it's powered off. It doesn't stay on very long to save your battery, I guess. But yeah, we'll try and get a closer up shot of that now, actually, because I want to show you the game. So give me one moment. Okay, so there we go. I've got it. I've got it in a position where you can see it, which is good. So I press start, which is the red button on the controller, which is now not doing anything for some reason. Oh, there we go. Right, I'm hoping it stays in focus. So let's go through the game. So, which is in the box: Asteroids, Pac-Man, Warlords, Tempest, Pong, Missile Command, Millipede, Combat, Centipede, Breakouts. I'm not sure where we've got Breakouts. I thought that was a bit weird, that they misspell that. And that's it. Yes, there we go. There's nothing else to see really. It says you can press up and down. It looks like it's saying left and right, and fire obviously to select. So this is where it gets interesting, because the game selection obviously seems pretty normal for an Atari device, but most notably you might be already thinking Warlords and Breakout, you supposed to use paddle controllers. Obviously they are, but they've been changed for joystick control here, and you're probably thinking that Combat, it's a two-player only game, so that's a strange inclusion, and I'll come on to that in a moment. And you're probably thinking, oh, it's the same old selection that they put on all these Atari devices, where they always have the same games on them. It's always the same old Atari 2600 games, like that joystick with the built-in games, like the Blaze mini arcades, like the flashback devices, and the subsequent flashback collections for various consoles and computers, and in the flashback handhelds, and they've done so many of these devices with Atari games on. But this isn't the same, because when I press this button, that'll do, you'll see why. And this is why I go back to what it shows on the box, because as you can already see, that isn't the Atari 2600 version. And you see down there it says copyright Atari 2019. And then if I start, there we go. as you can see, that's basically the arcade version. That's obviously been redone for this particular device. They've actually kind of reprogrammed all the games for this device. They're not the Atari 2600 ones, but they've made them look like the arcade versions. I'll press the reset button so we can go back, because you'll see this with other ones. So for example, let's go to Missile Command there. So there we go. Again, like the arcade intro. Defend cities. There we go. They've obviously adjusted this for single button control, like with the Atari 2600 version was like this, where it's adjusted to single button control. That only had one turret. This has got the 3 turrets, but it shoots from the nearest one to where you are on the screen. Is what a lot of the home ports do actually. But very, very playable, as you can see. Go back to the menu screen. Now, this is good as well because you'll see Tempest, and a lot of these devices have that absolutely terrible Atari 2600 Tempest prototype on them, where it looks like a pair of underpants and it's barely playable. This has proper Tempest on it, as you can see. Proper wireframe Tempest. So there we go. Much better than that stupid Atari 2600 prototype. As I say, Warlords and Breakout have been adjusted for control with the joystick, as you can see. But we have a very fine version of Warlords there. Great stuff. There, what else is there? Have a quick look at Asteroids there. So there's Asteroids again, with all its vector glory. And now there's cats hissing at each other next to me. Being stupid idiots. They're chasing each other around the house. There we go, there's a look at Asteroids. But let's have a look at something more interesting, because let's go back to... we've got a one-player version of Pong. I think we all know Pong. I don't even think you need to see that, to be honest. Breakouts. Yeah, combat. That's what I wanted to mention as well. It comes off Atari Combat there. Difficulty, easy. Tank visibility on. Missile guidance off. Ricochet. Playfield select. So we've got loads of options. It's not the 2600 version either. We've got all these different options. It's basically a completely new version of combat that's been written for this specifically, with one player in mind, as you can see. Absolutely brilliant. Really cool to see that on there. In part of me is like, oh, but it should be the Atari 2600 games, because it's basically a miniature 2600 that they're trying to represent with this thing. But there's also part of me that goes, well, thankfully it's not the arcade versions. It's these, 2600 ports. It's these new arcade-like ports instead, which is better. Sorry, I moved the camera there slightly where I was trying to move around. But this all changes when we go to Pac-Man. Oh yeah, new title screen. Yeah, look at that. We've not seen this. You're expecting another one where it's like the arcade game when you start it. But look at that. They've recreated almost exactly the horrible Atari 2600 version of Pac-Man. And I have no idea why they've done that. Because what makes that even more amusing is that on the flashback devices that have got Pac-Man on them, they don't use this version. They use a new version that's like the arcade game that was created specifically for those flashback devices. So it seems really strange that we've got the rubbish 2600 version there with its flickery sprites and everything. Really bizarre that's what we got and not an arcade one. I mean, I suppose that's the correct version in a way. It's nostalgic. But it just seems really odd to have put that version of Pac-Man on there when all the others, games on there aren't trying to be authentic. Just so strange. I don't really get it, but but that's it really in terms of the games. But I just want to flip back for the end for my thoughts and just to show you the differences in size, just to kind of ram home really how tiny this thing is. Okay, so there we are. We're back on the sofa. Right, so let's move this out of the way a minute. That's probably a good idea. Move that to the one side a minute while I grab the Atari. So there we are. There's my original 6-switch Atari video computer system. Lovely condition as well. This has actually appeared on the front of Retro Gamer magazine as well, so it's kind of famous. And let's grab our miniature. So there we go. Look at it. I mean, look how tiny it is in comparison. I'm trying to get it to stand up, but it doesn't want to do that. Oh, there we go. If I move the joystick, I mean, look, that is just, it's ridiculous. It's you know, about the same size as 2 of the switches on the unit. There we go. That's how unbelievably tiny it is. There's the joystick actually. I've got an Atari joystick here. Let's grab that. Oh, no, that's not it. I'm trying to reach behind me to grab it, and I picked up the power supply, which I don't want. That's pointless. But there's our Atari joystick. So there we go. Look at that. I mean, it's not much bigger than the button on the original Atari joysticks. Absolutely crazy. That's how, you know, that's how unbelievably tiny, you know, this device is. God, I'm get covered in cables now. So that's it really. Kind of round it up. Now, you know, is it worth buying? Yeah, actually it is. I wasn't expecting to say that. I thought I was going to say it was kind of cool but a bit pointless because it's the same old 2600 games and it's too hard to control. And actually, it plays surprisingly well. Even despite the fact it's tiny, you can play the games. The joystick is really responsive. All the games play really well. I mean, it's obviously a bit eye straining, and some of the games are really hard to make out the enemies, especially like Centipede and Millipede. Some games are easier to play than others. Breakout's fairly easy to play because the screen's quite simple. Likewise with Pong. Missile Command is actually fairly easy to play as well, but I found Centipede and Millipede particularly hard because there's so much going on the screen that it's really hard to make out the enemies and stuff. You're not going to sit and play on it for ages, are you, really? Most people are going to buy this purely as a collector's item, which is really why I bought it myself. You know, to be honest, it's just a nice thing to add to my collection. But there we go. That's it, really. There's not a lot else to tell you. It's a kind of a very cool little thing. It doesn't cost that much. I mean, I thought £25 was nothing really for something quite cool like that. So if you're really into Atari, like I am, and you like collecting Atari related items like I do, then it's yeah, it's well worth picking up, adding to your collection, and it makes a really nice little display piece, especially probably if you've got actually an old kind of veneer TV like that, which you could stick it on top of. That would be quite cool, wouldn't it? And it'd probably make a nice talking point as well if you had people visiting your house and stuff. But yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed my look at the Atari 2600 tiny arcade there. A cool little device indeed. And I thank you for watching. And I'll see you all again for another video very soon. Bye bye.